for inviting me today. I am so looking forward to this next hour and a half and just looking forward to sharing, yes, how to attract new clients and convert them, turn them into paying customers. Longest title in the world, I understand. But Jay, it was so great to hear you. I loved your last quote, who do you have to become? So I'm hoping I'm going to take that forward into this next session. And who do we need to become to have, whether we're a coach, a trainer, a consultant, an author, a speaker, a practitioner. Hopefully I've covered all the titles. If there's anybody got a different title, please pop it into the chat box. Now, I have with me the amazing, the incredible Jordan, who is working the technology for me today. So if you have anything that you want to ask me anytime during this hour and a half, I think, when I spoke to Max, he was saying, well, perhaps leave the questions to the end. I know that it's really annoying if I say something and you go, but I really need to understand that, Nicki Vee. I need to understand it. Just go, Jordan, please can you ask Nicki this as soon as she takes a breath? Which is not very often, by the way. So I forgive me for being a bit like a train or someone on speed. I am just so beyond excited to be here with you today, because when I've been, as Jay said, thank you very much for your intro, in the coaching arena, well, actually for more than 20 odd years, because I began in my corporate role as an operations person and HR in nightclubs, would you believe? So I've got a bit of a checkered career. And then, of course, I found that if we develop ourselves as people, then we have often this desire to assist others to have a better experience of life. So very early on, maybe in the late 90s, I started to look at different types of personal and business development. And yes, of course, came across the amazing, the incredible Mr. Tony Robbins, and went to him in 1995, took my amazing son, Nick James, along with me, if you know Nick, and he was 12 at the time. And since 1995, which is now, goodness me, 26 years, I have been immersed in how we can, as trainers, coaches, facilitators, practitioners, how we can master the art of doing what we do, and how we can share with people how they too can have the same experience. And I call this, basically Master Coach, which you can see is my business. It's this is about mastering the art of coaching, and so that we have an awesome business. So without kind of further ado, you may have seen in the email that went out to say, don't miss this Saturday, Max will have told you that I will start off by sharing with you my 4 steps to an awesome business. And my 4 steps, they're based on the belief that I have that, and by the way, if you'll forgive me, if you are a trainer, a facilitator, a consultant, please, if we can just use the word coaching today, or just save me a lot of, saying lots of words. So I'm going to call coaching like working with someone or coaching someone to have a great experience, or definitely coaching someone to overcome the challenges they face, the hurdles that they get to. And I know from talking to Simon's people and Simon's team that many of you are at the beginning of that journey where you have decided to share with the world your expertise at whatever it is that you understand and that you have a gift to share. And if you are at the start, then I know that I'm going to give you some foundational things today that are going to assist you to not only just be even more amazing at what you do, but to turn this into cash. I have a phrase that I go, this is all about getting clients and getting paid. Okay. Now, if you're further along your journey, which I know many of you are, and you've got clients and you've got you have an identity of what you teach, then what I want to do is give you some fine tuning. I want to give you some advanced skills so that you can go, I can see how that would really fit in with the way that I am going out on social media, or the way that I am talking to people on the telephone. So just some things that I know will really give you some fine tuning, because this is based on a really strong belief of mine, which I call like Nicki Vee's definition of coaching. And this has come from really years and years and years of like being in this industry and realizing that the impact that we have on people can be so much more effective if we have the right skills, the right confidence, the right way of delivering it. And it's also based on Tony Robbins's, he has loads of quotes, as you know, loads of quotes if you've come across him, I'm sure you have. But the one that I want to talk to you about today is his quote, which says, people will do so much more to move away from pain than they will ever do to go towards pleasure. Hear that again. Maybe you want to write it down. People will do so much more to move away from pain than to go towards pleasure. And that's why I wrote my own, it's not in the dictionary, my own definition of coaching. And I say coaching is asking powerful questions. And again, let me just remind you, I'm using the word coaching as a catch-all word for anything that we do that shares with other people either how to overcome things or how to go towards what they want, okay? So coaching is asking powerful questions. Now, I'm going to be honest, like 10, 15 years ago when I first started the Master Coach programs, I used to go, you know, coaching is about asking kick-ass questions. It's about killer questions. And then I suddenly realized that the word powerful was more appropriate. And the reason why I believe powerful is more appropriate, and by the way, I love killer questions. I love kick-ass questions. But the word powerful is carefully chosen because when people come to you, they will buy you, they will join your programs, they will buy what you're selling if you're sharing with them that this program, this service, whatever you're offering, can help them overcome things that they feel powerless to sort. So let me give you a couple of examples. This would be, say you were weight loss coach, say you were weight loss or a PT, okay, and you are selling your great program, you know it's great value for people, you've got testimonials saying how great it is. If when you talk to somebody, either through copy or through the phone or Zoom or whatever we do nowadays, right? When you speak to them, you have to find the place where they go, I've tried everything, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to turn, and you then become the obvious solution here. Your experience, your knowledge, your program, whatever it is, becomes the natural solution. And this means that it's almost like, you know, you hear people say, and I've been saying this for a long time, this is like selling without selling. This is like, let's get to the bottom of where this person feels powerless, where they don't know where to turn, where they don't know what to do. And let's create programs and services that actually assist them to go from where they are to where they want to be. So that's my first part of the definition. We ask powerful questions. And as I said you would have seen, I'm going to give you my favorite seven questions, which I've designed and utilized, and thousands of people are using these questions, and they are getting to the bottom of the issue, and they're assisting people to see what they need to work on, and they are assisting people to get to where they want to be. So I'm going to go over those seven questions. I'm going to give them you like it's you know, I don't want to hold anything back today, right? I want to give that to you, right? Okay. So coaching is asking powerful questions that cause people to have new realizations. Now, before I go on, think about that. New realizations. These questions are not so that they give you information, because I'll tell you why that's not a good thing. And if you might go, hold on, Nicki Vee, lots of people tell us to ask loads of questions so that we get very, very clear all about, and then we can decide which program. Look, I may be telling you something slightly different, but I'm not saying don't, throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you've got something that's working by, fact finding or taking some information, but remember, every time you take information off the person, they are giving you information that they already know. That is not worth paying for. So if we're in a sales call or we're in a conversation with people, then they tell us something, we owe it to them to ask them a powerful question. Otherwise, what happens is they're spending all that time. Now, I know they're not paying for that if they're within a sales call, but they're spending all that time giving you information so that what? Now, if the information is valuable so that you know which program's going to fit, yes. But if the information is so that you can give them a solution, how many of you, Jordan, hopefully people will communicate with me on the chat here. How many of you, put yes in the chat, if you've ever had a sales conversation with anyone, where you've asked them some questions, they've told you what their problem is, and you've given them a solution, and therefore they haven't bought. And I guarantee you, and please, pop yes. Have we got any yeses coming up?
Got one, yes.
Yep, fantastic. Because we've all done it.
Yes.
Look,
yes.
We've all done it. We've all spent kind of loads of time with someone being fabulous, being loving, being giving them a solution. And here's the reason why, from a real integrity point of view, that is not good. Is because actually it's not about you not making the sale. It's about that you've just given them a quick fix to something they've told you about. And the solution has come from here. Your solution has come from your head, and your head, bless it, can only work out what it already knows, right? So let me go back. We're asking powerful questions because the person feels powerless. We're asking powerful questions so that they have new realizations, or they have new distinctions, or they have new understandings. And therefore you'll see that in your face if you're with them in person or on Zoom, or you might even hear it in their voice. You ask them a question, they kind of go, okay. And they'll often pause. If they're chatty like I am, they'll go quiet. If they're quiet, they might start talking. Because actually they're going, okay, this person has asked me a great question, and now I have a new realization. And what I'm going to show you is why those questions need to be the right questions. Because the right questions will have them have new realizations of the pain that they're in because they don't know what to do, the pain that they're in because they don't know where to turn. So coaching is asking powerful questions that assist people to have new realizations. Third thing, so that they make new decisions. Now, you might go, oh, fantastic. So what you're saying, Nicki, is you're going to give me some questions so that they make new decisions. Isn't that, I can hear you thinking it, isn't that they're going to make a decision that they know what to do? And that's why I'm going to give you the exact questions, because then they're going to make a decision about how bad it's got, how confused they are, how much pain they're in, how much this is affecting their life. The questions I'm going to give you are going to get them to make a decision. Here's the perfect decision that they make. I need to sort this out. I need to resolve this. I need to handle this. I need to get this handled. There's loads and loads of things that people say. Therefore, I need to, and you have just helped me with that. By the way, I nearly forgot to tell you that bit. You've been the catalyst to them having that new realization. The likelihood is they'll make the decision that they want to get this handled with you, right? Now, this is not some sort of clever dick kind of sales thing. This is truly serving people. It's like going, look, you've got this problem. Tell me about this problem. Good. I'm going to ask you these questions. You're going to understand how bad it could get, or how bad it is, or how it affects people. And then you're going to make a decision. And if you make a decision, here's the worst thing that could happen, is that you do this too well. And I'll show you how not to do it too well. What do I mean by that? To not do it. Look, I'm a very intense person, right? And if I'm too intense, I actually do too much coaching, even just by asking these questions. And the person kind of goes, Nikki, I realize how bad it's going to get. I need to handle this. I need to get off the phone right now and go and handle it, right? That's the worst thing going to happen. You serve that person, they'll be back. But the best thing that can happen, of course, is that they'll go, I need to get this handled. How could you help me? How could you assist me? Tell me about your program. Tell me about the things that you can do so that I stop this, what's not working in my life, and I have what is working. So that's where my definition is asking powerful questions so that they have new realizations, so that they make new decisions. And then there's the fourth thing, that they follow through on. Now, this is not about following through on the buying. Like, you've already done everything you need to do to get that person to understand. Of course, you have to be able to assist them with their problem. That has to be a good fit. We all know that. But now, when you use these questions in your coaching or in your training or in your facilitating or as your practitioner or as an author or as a speaker, when you use that and you give them the great stuff and you ask them even more powerful questions, the likelihood of them following through is huge. Because how many, please put a yes in the feed again, how many of us have done a really great job with people and they go, this was amazing, Nicki Vee, you're incredible, absolutely incredible. And then they go away and they do cool, right? Excuse my French. But like, they go away and they don't follow through. And that's because we've had a nice conversation about what they could do. It hasn't come from within. They haven't made a decision. They say the definition of a decision is it cuts off any other opportunity. Think about something you've done in your life where you have made a decision and nothing could stop you. I mean, I've got to tell you something funny. Like 26 years ago, I go to a Tony Robbins event. I am drinking alcohol, drinking coffee, eating meat, sloping about on the sofa watching TV, all those things, and of course, right? I go to Tony Robbins, I get something like I'm telling you today. I have a realization that if I keep doing this, things are not going to get better, they're going to get worse. So I go home and I give up everything immediately, cold turkey. I run every day, I go vegan, I don't drink coffee, I don't drink alcohol. I literally changed everything. Now, I made a commitment because of the kind of thing I'm sharing with you today. Nothing changed. About 2 months ago, Jordan, you might not know this, I was in a meeting here in our HQ. I was in a meeting here and literally we're all talking about, you know, like the summer's coming up and, you know, guess what? We're actually going to be able to go on holiday soon. All that kind of stuff. And I go, right, I'm joining the gym. And I kind of made that decision based on a good idea. And thank goodness I went to somewhere very close by. Well, maybe not. Maybe if I'd have, Jordan's looking at me going, you, Nicki Vee, right? Because he's a PT as well, just remember, right? And like, instead of doing it because I made a decision and I followed through, I just thought it was a good idea. Went to the local gym, it's £20 a month. My brain said, so if I don't go, it's all right. No. If I don't go, it's all right. No. Guess how many times I've been in 4 weeks? Twice. I mean, I should be ashamed of myself. I know, Nicki Vee's telling me that. But you see the difference between a good idea and something which you make, some decision which you make deep, deep down inside of us, and nothing can stop you. That's why the fourth part of my definition is that you follow through on. Now, good. Trust you've got all that, and you've got the reason why that's Nicki Vee's definition. Now, what I want to give you now is my 4 steps. So these are my 4 steps to an awesome business in our industry. Now, the first step, okay, and by the way, without this, nothing's going to work. So without this, nothing's going to work. And this first step is you. If you, and by the way, congratulations for using your Saturday to be on Saturday school with Simon and the team, because now you're committing to your own growth, committing to what you're doing for a living, and you are, well, committed, which is fantastic that you're following through on something you've decided to take up. Now, the difficulty with you, I'm going to say here, is how you show up. So I'll tell you a stupid little story here, is that got here, Jordan was here, put the camera up, we're doing all the links, making sure I'm a complete, aren't I? I'm a complete, like, please can we, like, Jay, I checked the link last night and then I'm terrified of that happening. Why? Because I like to show up in a really professional way. So we've got it all done, the camera's all there, and then I look over here and I see marks all down the side of here. So I had to go to another building to get the GIF and some paper to, now I'll be honest, I know you probably think I'm anally retentive and a perfectionist, but I'm really not that happy about this bit here because it didn't really come off properly, you know? And the thing is, for me, when we're going to show up, this is our identity. So if you're going to show up as a trainer, as a coach, as a practitioner, as a speaker, as a, you know, you need to have an identity that is showing up in a way that shows your audience that you do this for a living, you care a lot about making sure that what you're sharing is massively helpful to them, massively good for their experience, and that you've decided that you need to be, in order to serve at an absolutely amazing level, right? You need to show up at a 10 out of 10 of energy. Now, I'm going to ask you questions. One of my favorite coaching questions, by the way. I'm thinking I'm only going to give you 7 and I'll think about the other 3. Here's one of my very, very favorite questions. On a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being hopeless, no good, really bad, and 10 being fantastic, you can't believe how good it is, where's your life? Okay? 0, not good at all, struggling like crazy. 10 is amazing, you can't believe it's so good. What number between 0 and 10 is your life? So, Jordan.
5, we've got 6.
5, 6, great. So, fantastic. 5. So, here's the question I'm going to ask you. What needs to happen? You might want to write this down at home, right? Or wherever you are. If you want to put it on here, that's fine. But this is more important that it's for you than to tell other people. I mean, I know the philosophy that says you put it out to the universe and it will come true and all that. But I'm going, if you've given a 5 or a 6 or even lower, even if you've given an 8, my next question is, what needs to happen for you to get to a 10? What needs to happen for you to get to a 10? Because you owe it to your potential clients, your social media following, your database of clients, your paying clients, your high-end clients, your this, whatever. You owe it to them to be as close as, damn it, to a 10 out of 10. For example, I am here today presenting to you for an hour and a half. What time did we get here, Jordan? 10 o'clock, just before 10 o'clock, making sure everything's in a good place. I had my second vaccination yesterday. Okay. So the first time I had it, I had a bit headachy, woke up this morning at 7:15, not feeling that great, right? And I need to be at a 10 out of 10 for you. So I didn't go to the medicine cabinet and start taking drugs and paracetamol or whatever. I actually went back to bed, got on one of my favorite things called Pziz, P-Z-I-Z-Z, I think, or 3 Z's at the end. Anyway, it's P-Z-I-Z-Z. I've been using it since the 90s, and I literally, it's a 20-minute guided meditation that's equal to 2 hours sleep. I've been using that forever Like when we do our big events, Expert Empires events, literally Nick will come to me and go, because he's on the stage such a lot, he'll come to me and he'll go, I'm just going off for 20 minutes for a business, Mom. Can you just, check on that everything's okay? But what I mean is, I will do everything. Like, I'm like, I've got to make sure, right, actually, let's do this. Let's have a drink of water. Let's make sure we're hydrated, right? If you had a heavy night last night, I'm not looking at you. I had a heavy night last night, drink more water. Think about what you're eating. Think about so that you show up at a 10 out of 10 of energy. Now, I know that's a bit of an out there word and it's airy-fairy and all that kind of stuff, but actually think about it. Your identity is going to be determined by how you show up as near as you can be to a 10 out of 10 of energy. Now, that does not mean Tony Robbins kind of woo, woo, woo. That might be your centered, calm, certain energy. You see, centered, calm, and certain is not high energy, which can be too much. I'm not saying there are some great speakers who are very high energy. A few years ago, I used to be very high energy, right? But like what I mean is we need to show up in our own best energy. Let me put that in, best energy. Now, why am I taking so much time thinking about the you is because before you go on social media, before you go out on an email, because by the way, do you think you can get somebody's energy by their email? Of course you can. Before you put a photograph on something, before you go on Zoom, before you go on a live, before you go on a sales call, this has got to be as best as it can be. Now, I know that you've probably heard some of this before, but I have watched so many people in this industry do everything from here on so professionally, so well. They've got landing pages, they've got products, they've got services, they have got all sorts of programs, they've got masterclasses, they've got you name it, and they're good and their expertise is second to none. But if they're not in the right energy, people don't connect with them. People don't actually then go like because my belief, okay, let me just be honest. My belief is we all buy unconsciously. So something inside of us, our unconscious, connects with something inside of the other person or persons, if it's an audience. That unconscious, that energy, that unconscious is your most valuable asset. Because when we're in that good place, when we're not trying to get, we're trying to serve. We're not trying to sell, we're trying to connect with people, make sure we're the right fit, right? But just showing up in your best of you demonstrates that this is a very important thing to you. I could go on for hours about this because there's three things that create your best energy. What you put past your lips, okay? Eating and drinking. What you're thinking, again, really understanding what you're thinking, but also your environment. If you don't have a beautiful environment or clean environment or tidy environment or great environment, you are not going to have the best energy. So I'm always going with this is like food, drink, think, and environment. And like, it's like so important. And so this part, I feel like in any way, shape or form is going to take you closer to where you want to be in your business. Okay, so now we're going to the second stage. And I'm going to, just for this conversation, I'm going to say this is the first interaction. Okay, so let's just imagine, and it will be like 2-3 minutes, say like 2 or 3 minutes to read something, 2 or 3 minute video, 2 or 3 minutes in person, like a sort of networking situation. So this might be networking. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you 3 or 4 questions to ask at this point. Okay, I'm going to come back to that in a little bit, but I just want to give you a real sense of it. Is the reason why we make sure we're in the right energy, and then when we're going into this first interaction with people, that we are going to be asking them some questions. It's because here's where the ability to connect with people by asking them questions that are useful to them. Remember, powerful questions that cause them to have new realizations. We're going to have these 3 to 4 questions. Actually, damn it, I'm going to do them now. Right, so we'll come back to that in a second. So this is like a 2 to 3 minute interaction. Okay, and we're going to, let's just call this a networking situation. It won't that be amazing when we can go to networking in our field, in our sector, whatever we're doing, we can actually go to something where we're with like-minded people, we're with people who are doing the same kind of thing, or our potential clients are there in droves. So let's just imagine we're at a networking. Okay, so we're in person. Obviously the same applies to Zoom, but it's not quite the same. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but anyway. So we get to a networking, and the most things that people say is they say, "What do you do?" And the first thing that I think that you've probably heard with Simon, you've probably heard with other people, but I call it the 10 words that describe who you assist or work with, to overcome X or get X. So I'll give you an example. I mentor, so actually 10 words to describe who you assist, so you can be described. So I mentor coaches. So this is who you assist. So I Okay, so in here, I'm writing, just as an example, I mentor coaches. Obviously, you have to decide. I coach people who want to lose weight. I don't know, something like that. Whatever you want to say. I mentor coaches who want to X or XX. So my example is, I mentor coaches to overcome the business challenges and have an awesome business. Another one I've got. I mentor coaches to master the art of coaching so that they have a profitable, successful business. So you need to have something that describes you, which means that you, in answer to the question, what do you do? You've got, and I'm saying about 10 words. Now, you can spend hours deciding what those exact 10 words are. As you can hear, lots of people have lots of different ones, but if the basis of it is, it's describing what you do to another person or persons who have got this problem or they want this. Nice and simple. So what do? You tell them. Then you might ask, what do you do? So like you might ask, or what do you do? What do you do? Question mark. Or what brought you here? What brought you here? Okay? Like whatever that question is, it doesn't really matter. It's just an opening question, right? So that's kind of question 1. This is question 2. And it's basically saying, what do you do, or what made you come? Okay. So then the third one is, how's that going? Now, they're likely to tell you in a networking situation that things are going pretty well. Now, you'll probably be able to tell, like I would, when things are not going as well as they're saying, but really we're just in a very, very casual conversation. How's that going? Yeah, it's going okay. question 4. Sorry, because I know that when you see this in a different format, it's called the 4 networking questions, and I've got them wrong. So that's how's that going? The 3rd question is, what's challenging? Now, in a networking situation, we have to be very, very careful that we're not too heavy, okay? We have to be going, oh, what's challenging? The way I describe this is I describe this as a 2 out of 10 intensity. So this is 10 out of 10 intensity. This is 5 out of 10 of intensity. And this is 2 out of 10 of intensity. So you can hear, I mean, I'm not very good at the lower ones because I'm too intense, but like, you get what I mean. So think about this. What do you do? Oh, how's that going? Anything challenging? What's challenging? And then the 4th one, and the reason why we have to be very, very careful that we're at 2 out of 10. In fact, I'm going to write it again so we don't forget. 2 out of 10 of intensity is because we're now going to ask quite a heavy coaching question, which is, what's going to happen? What's going to happen if you don't get that handled? Hope you can read that. So what do you do? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, how's that going? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, anything challenging or what's challenging? They tell you what's going to happen if you don't get that handled. Now, my frequently asked question when I share this is, what happens when if I say what's challenging, they say nothing? Well, clearly you're not going to ask the last question. But if you've got someone who's a potential client here, you are going to find out that they are going to go, okay, this person is asking me some great questions that are making me, remember, have a new realization. Because I'm now starting to think about how it's going. Not everybody's thinking about that all day long, regardless of how good they are at business. Sometimes we are very, very good at like making sure that we're constantly measuring our statistics and our results. By the way, this is fantastic. The bigger you get, the more important it is. But often people, when they're starting off, is they're kind of going, well, I'm trying to get this, and I spoke to this person. They're not really measuring it, which is obviously quite a useful thing to do. So how's that going? Genuine question. And what are you finding challenging? You see, you can add that in. I just like that. I've just heard myself say that. What are you finding challenging? Got it? And then they tell you, and you go, oh, and what's going to happen if you don't get that handled? Or what's going to happen? So I had a guy who was like, he called himself a serial networker. And he came to one of my events and he heard all this and he went, yeah, I've been networking a long time. I get like 10, 15, 20 business cards to follow up. And I'm going, cool, fantastic. It's working. Then carry on doing it. And he went, no, I'm just going to try this. I'm going to go to a network and I'm going to try this. And he went, oh my God, completely different. Less people, more highly qualified. Let me say that again. Less people, more highly qualified. Because otherwise you're making loads of phone calls, or you're sending people stuff where you've just had a conversation. They go, oh, would you like to see what, they might go, oh, send me some stuff, or, you go, would you like me to, follow up with something? And they go, yeah, okay, here's my card or whatever, right? This will mean what's going to happen if you don't get it handled. They're going to stand there. They probably won't answer you, by the way. And they go, And so you then do this. You say nothing and wait and see what they say. Because if you now say something while their head is telling them, about what's going to happen. What's going to happen is it's not going to be good if I don't get this challenge handled. You're going to then break into a moment when they might then genuinely say, I want to talk to you more. So that's this part. What's the time, please, Jordan?
You're right, 11:42.
Oh, fantastic. So I'd say that whatever time it was, I just my brain will go, how am I doing for time?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so we asked those 3 or 4 questions, and going to put it on here as well, so you don't forget. 2 out of 10 of intensity. So that, here's the outcome. The outcome is so that this person just said, anybody who now here tries to tell people about what they do, apart from when somebody asks them a question, they just give them 10 words. If you then start to go, well, I've got a program that can help this. I've got a program that can help this challenge. The problem is too early. What does one of the great speakers says is you're trying to, you're on a date, and instead of going for a kiss, you're going for the full Monty, right? And I'm like, it's too soon, because all you want is for them to ask for more. That's all that you want, okay? And I can tell you that this has worked for so many people that I've mentored, because they started to realize that it is not about trying to push the program or the service onto the person. We have to get into this where there are, I mean, how amazing, just think about it for a minute. How amazing if you were to go to a network and you go on a Zoom thing, or you go on Clubhouse, or you go on one of the other things, and you get somebody ask you, they go, please, can you send me stuff? And you go, yeah, what would you like me to send? Well, I want to know more about how you work. Well, I'll tell you what, probably the best thing for us to do is jump on a call and I'll explain everything, because I want to know exactly what you need so that I can, match that with the best thing that I offer. So like, this is why you just want them to ask for more. Now we get into the next stage, which is the next conversation. Okay, now, do you remember I said up the earlier, and we put our hands up and loads of people said yes? How many times have you had a conversation? We can call it the sales conversation or the first sales conversation. I call it a conversion conversation just because it's easy. I call it a conversion conversation. And I go, look, this is when somebody has asked for more. They've asked for some more information. They've asked to talk to you more. They've asked for some more time. You might be at a network and they go, can I talk to you more? And you go, well, yeah, let's go and have a coffee when we finish. Okay. And now you're in this conversation. And remember what I said to you earlier. How many of us have spent too long giving lots of solutions and then the person doesn't buy? So my always thing here is this should be 25 minutes maximum. Okay. 25 minutes. And that will give you time to ask questions where they realize what they don't know what to do, don't know where to turn, have new realization, and then make a decision to get it handled. Remember the question, it's going to happen if you don't get it handled or sorted or resolved. And now you could use the next 5 or 10 minutes, or even 15, maybe you get to 30 minutes, by either signing them up or booking the next call, or getting them onto the program, or sending them a brochure, or whatever that is. So in this place, right, so we've got here is 3 to 4 questions, 2 out of 10. This is the 7 questions. Okay, and this we say at, get the colours right, that this we say at a 5 out of 10. So they've asked for more time, they've asked for more from us, and now we are now going into a very good conversation where it's a more qualified conversation. So what I want to do is show you what those 7 questions look like. And I'm going to give you them. I'm going to tell you my best ones, but I'm actually going to show you why they work. And then I'm going to give you my best ones. Please just make sure you've got pen and paper to write them down. So I'm not going to write them on here because you'll never be able to read them. And, but they're not the only questions. They're just the ones that are my favorite. So first of all, let's have some water. Any questions come in, Jordan, or are people in just shock of the, how much information? I do apologise for being like a train.
No questions so far. I think that's
Fantastic. So I must be, either I'm explaining it or they've gone to sleep. I don't know. Whatever. I'm sure they haven't. Right. So this is the coaching strategy. Now, it's actually a coincidence it's a V. It's a complete coincidence. We just find that quite amusing that our name is Tony and Nicki Vee. But we started this years and years ago when we were teaching coaching for the first time. We used to do something called Coach the Coach. And we started to notice that if people were not making any progress when they were coaching or mentoring a person, we realized that there were certain things that were not happening. So we decided that the first thing, which would be our first question, is that they needed to have more clarity. So Tony and I have been watching somebody do a coaching with somebody, not a role play, by the way, I don't like role plays at all, watching somebody coach somebody else on a problem, and we could hear and see, by the way, not only hear, but see that there was not enough clarity on what the problem was. And they call this the presenting problem. And you're going to have a lot of people come to you with this presenting problem, and it isn't, I'm sure you've heard this before, it can often not be the real problem, okay? But it's the presenting problem. So my first question, maybe if you could just jot this down, I don't know whether you want to pop this in the thing, is, I'll try and say this slowly, and don't worry about spelling. If you want to be perfect speller, but if you're not, don't worry about it. I'm used to it. Tony V is dyslexic, so it's random and creative spelling. So the first question is, what's critical? What is or what's critical for you to resolve right now? What's critical for you to resolve right now? Now, why would that be my favorite question? So, and actually, I hope you've just written that down. If not, Jordan's put it in the feed, in the chat. So now think about it. In fact, close your eyes right now for me, please. And ask yourself, let me hear me ask you this question. What is critical for you to resolve right now? That can be anything in your life, okay? And that will give you and me, if I was coaching you, the clarity of what has to be talked about here, right? Well, the other way you could ask this question is, what's a must for you to resolve right now? Not just what's important, but critical. Do you see how critical is a different word? What's critical for you to resolve right now? So think about that. Okay. Now, the second question is, you okay?
Yeah, we just got one question here.
Yeah, please.
How does the 2-minute networking work online in this new virtual reality? E.g., do you use a survey or?
Good question. I think a survey, quite a lot of people do that. They'll go, I was talking to somebody the other day actually, and they were saying that they have a web page or a landing page, and it basically says, to get my lead magnet, to get my free report, to get my really valuable free video program or something, pop your details in the box and it will come straight through to you online, yeah? And what they sometimes do is they'll put a few questions in there, right? And the only thing that I am nervous about, what's the person's name?
Excuse me if I can't pronounce this right. Is it Kasunde?
Kasunde, sounds good. But the only thing I'd be careful of is with written, you cannot get your 2 out of 10 of intensity. You can't get your tonality around it. So some of these questions, I would, if I was going to do a survey and I wanted to ask people, I would use the first 3 questions. I'd go, what do you do? What do you do? How's it all going? What you're finding challenging? and I'd leave the last one out, because that will give you enough information about the person to know what they're struggling with. I would leave that last one out, because if I was going to do it online, if I'm on Zoom and I'm with a person one-on-one, I'd definitely ask it. There's another thing which I haven't talked about yet, which is a bit of a sort of fine-tuning advanced skill, which is you ask questions what I call rhetorically. In other words, you ask somebody a question without trying to get them to answer out loud. In other words, you might say, let me give you a good example, you might go, think about it, kind of what's going to happen if you don't get it handled? You're not actually saying what is going to happen if you don't get this handled and then pausing, right? You're actually kind of going to think about it. What's going to happen if you don't? Do you see how this is 2 out of 10? It's really relaxed, and you're not actually asking them to handle. You cannot have that when you're doing a survey or when you're online. So I suppose my answer is yes, you could use some questions, but I wouldn't use what I call the heavier coaching questions that get people to go, whoa. I'll show you in a minute what I mean by whoa. So the second question, and I always put like an arrow here because this is different than coming down here, is, so we've asked, what's critical for you to resolve right now? They think about that, and then you go, what impact is that having on your life? So Jordan, if you can put that in the feed, what impact is that having on your life? Now, you might go, but I'm like a business coach who coaches small businesses to get more profitable. And Nicki Vee, you're going, what's critical to resolve right now? I can see how that would be a good question. But what about what's the impact this is having, meaning the problem is having on your life? Now, the reason why I go on your life is because the leverage that people need in order to start to be determined to get this handled is when you can help them understand how it's impacting other parts of their life. This is such an unconscious thing that if you keep talking about the problem and keep going, and what impact has it had that you're not profitable on your business? Do you see how this is very tunnel vision, where this is what impact is having on your life? Now we're starting to have a personal relationship with this person. Now, when I first taught this, I used to come straight down to the bottom and use what they call, those of you who know Mr. Robbins will know what leverage means. And leverage in this circumstance is not leveraging some work to a VA or something like that. This is accessing leverage on a person where they can understand how bad it's been and how bad it will be. Because otherwise there's no gap for you to fulfill. But this is question 4, 5, and 6. And about 5-6 years ago, I started to use this question number 3. Now, this question is, you might have heard of this, some of you more than others, this is a cause versus effect question. Now, I'm giving you this now, even if you're just starting off. Maybe you're still in a job and you're thinking, I want to work for myself. Or maybe COVID's created a situation where you go, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to jump in and I'm going to start my own business. Or maybe you've already got your business and it's going okay, but you want it to go to the next level of income or whatever. If we don't talk about cause and effect, then we're trying to coach or mentor the presenting problem. And my experience is, as a coach, I'm a hypnotherapist, I understand human psychology. By the way, to understand human psychology is very important if we're going to be in this people field, as I call it, right? We need to understand that if somebody is at effect of what's going on around them that's causing them a problem, then it's really hard to coach them or mentor on it because it's something outside. So let me give you an example. Business, I'll give you the business example because I think it makes more sense here, right? The problem is no money to invest. The impact is my business is going nowhere. In fact, it's going downwards. Cash flow is a problem, and it's impacting my wife and, you know, my ability to take my kids on holiday or whatever that's there. Now, the problem, if we see the problem as the bank, for example, for not lending us the money, or they won't let us remortgage the house, or blah, 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 or we can't get the investment to buy the property, or whatever that is, then, a technical term, we're fucked, because how can we help them, apart from a little bit of what I call nicey coaching, which would be, well, you know, have you thought of that? Or have you tried that? Or have you tried again? Or don't give up, or anything like that. Here's the thing, that again is using your head to try and solve a problem. And what I maybe didn't mention very strongly enough earlier when I was giving you the definition was, if you go into your head, if you get too much information from them, so if you hear that it's the bank that won't give them a loan and your brain goes, oh, I wonder why the bank won't give them a loan. You ask them all about their finances. Oh, I wonder whether the banks have changed the rules. Can you see how this is no benefit? Because somebody can go and Google it to get that kind of benefit. So don't forget, we're in a sales conversation. You have to find a way not to give solutions. Because if you give solutions, they'll just go away and do it and, you know, sail over, right? So what we have to do is we have to ask a question that puts them at cause. In other words, that they're having some impact on this problem that you could coach. So let me give you the question, which will help me explain this to you. So the question, and by the way, this took me years to find this question. People have tried to help me get a better one. I still keep coming back to the same one. And the question is, what do you know you're doing that's preventing you from resolving this? What do you know you're doing that's preventing you from resolving this? And that means you're basically asking what's not working. Okay? You're basically asking what's not working. That is another question, but it's not you. So this is about you. What do you know you're doing that's preventing you? Can you hear how that's at cause from resolving it? This is a nice, gentle question. It's not a strong cause and effect question like, how are you creating this? Or, you know, how are you creating everything? What have you done wrong? Is not a good question, right? What do you know you're doing that's prevented you from resolving it, or preventing you from resolving it, is a nice question that will just go, yeah, you know what? I've been getting frustrated. I've been getting angry. I've been getting unresourceful. I've been getting this. And then what you have then is what I would call this. Okay. Now you've got the presenting problem, you've got the impact, you've now got them going, yeah, I get it. I'm part of the problem here. And then you can go on to these other questions. Question number 4 is all about the past. And the question is, in the past, easy to remember, in the past, what has this, meaning this, cost you? Now, I don't necessarily mean cost in terms of money, but some people will see cost in terms of money. Cost emotionally, cost financially, cost in any way. But actually, if you just say, in the past, what has this cost you? This is why you need to task these questions. You don't need to have them go talking on for ages and ages. We need to do something called elegantly interrupting, which means that somebody goes, you go, what do you know you're doing that's preventing you from resolving this? And they go, oh, well, I get frustrated, I get the thing. What's that cost you in the past? So it could be this or that. So do you see how this is a conversation? We call this a conversational coaching because it isn't a question and answer. It's not like the police or the Gestapo. This is like, you know, let's have a conversation about you. It's a private conversation, by the way. By this time, you need to be one-on-one. If you're ever with groups, you need to ask these questions rhetorically. Like, think about it. What do you know you've been doing that's not been working? What do you know that you've been doing that's prevented you? I've had people present to large organizations with these questions, and they'll ask, they'll have a boardroom full of people and they'll go, so what's the company been doing that's not been working? And the company goes, whoa, nobody's ever asked that before. Everybody's always trying to sell us what they've got to sell. So in the past, what has this cost you? Next question, which is, so this is the past, this is now. How is this, the question is, how is this affecting you now? Now, you might go, isn't that a bit the same as the second question? What was the impact on your life? Now, but don't forget, we're talking about this and that. How is this affecting you now? Fifth question. And sixth question, which is familiar, by the way, because it's in the other networking question, is the future. And the question is, what's going to happen in the future? You all right, Jordan, with this? What's going to happen in the future if you don't get this handled or sorted or resolved? Good. Now, I know I said there were 7 questions, and the 7th question is this. So let's just quickly run through this as an example. Presenting problem, what's critical for you to resolve right now? My business is, not doing well. What's the impact on your life? Well, can't get any funding, the wife's not happy about it, can't go on holiday. What do you know you've been doing that's prevented you from resolving this? I'm getting frustrated, I'm getting angry, I've tried everything, I'm feeling despondent. And what has that cost you in the past? And if they go, what do you mean, what's it costing you in the past? What's it costing you in the past to be frustrated, angry, despondent? They'll tell you. How is it affecting you now? Well, yeah, as I said, not only just it's affecting my wife because we can't go on holiday, this is like we're rowing, we're having a bad situation. And what's going to happen in the future if you don't get it handled? The business is going to go down, I'm going to have to get a job, we might lose our house, blah, 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 blah. So this is quite heavy, which is why, big question, big thing, you can only do this at a 5 out of 10 of intensity. Okay? And this is why, when you get to the 7th question, which is quite long, Jordan's going to not like this, right? What decision are you making inside of yourself right now? What decision are you making inside of yourself right now? Now, so you can hear what's going to happen in the future if you don't get it handled. What decision are you making? And then what you need to do is shut up, okay? Because now they're deciding what they're going to do about all this. Now, we've still got the same, but can you hear the difference between what's critical to know right now? I can't get funding for my business. And I think, oh, you go straight into, not saying you never do this, but you go straight into, well, I've got a program, it's a business coaching program, it lasts for 3 months, it costs this, blah, blah, blah. And you haven't done any of this. You haven't got the person's leverage. You haven't got the person to have a new realization, causing them to make a new decision. Okay. Now, where am I? So that is the outcome here of those 7 questions is, at 5 out of 10, remember, is for the person to either give you money, that's a $, a euro sign, or a pound sign, either give you money because you've gone, it's a 3-month program, I can, this is what's included on it, and you go straight for the sale, or they ask you to send a brochure, whatever that is, and you do a follow-up sales call too. Now the next thing, the 4th, nice and simple, is delivery. And all I'm going to say is you need to deliver all your programs and services at a 10 out of 10 energy, so that the outcome is more time, they buy more, or they refer you. Okay, so that is the 4 steps. to an awesome coaching, training, consulting practitioner's business. I'm trusting that you can see the difference, massive difference, between how you show up in a 10 out of 10 energy, how you ask these 3 to 4 questions at a 2 out of 10 of intensity when you're in the first interaction with them, either online or off. And then you have this sales conversion conversation at a 5 out of 10 with using the 7 questions. And obviously after that, there may be some much more closing questions and all that, okay? And then you're delivering. Now, because that's what I believe is the foundation of how you attract to these two. So what we've got here is we've got attraction here, okay? And then we've got conversion here, okay? For me, that's how you attract new customers and turn them into paying clients. And that's what I wanted to give you today as the foundational tools for that kind of interaction. Now, coaching per se, I said to you at the beginning, coaching per se, mastering the art of coaching is about things like the level of intensity that you use, how you interact them, how you use your physical body, how you use advanced skills. I have lots of video footage, lots of things that can teach you. I'm just looking at my I'm just looking at my notes for what I wanted to share with you. So the advanced skills that you need to use are always the ones that really affect all of this, but particularly in delivery. And just to give you some examples, things like using props, basically saying, you know, if this is him and this is her, or, you know, what in this room depicts the bank manager, the funding, and the analyst, the whatever the person is that you're trying to interact with. So it's lots and lots and lots of, you know, really tight kind of coaching skills that I'd love to share with you. What I want to do now is just give you a little sense of what Simon and Max have asked me to share with you for what you can have if you want more of this. So I have got a online, fully video, certified training program that will take you through. And I am literally, could read these out for you so that you know. There is much more information on how you attract clients, how you attract clients in the corporate world, how you attract clients in the private coaching thing. From Tony and my own experience, having been intimate relationship coaches for the last 18 years nearly, and then with the Master Coach program since 2011. So how we attract, what else we add to this kind of philosophy is in video format on our Master Coach certified training. There is also more information about, when we're talking about a 2 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10, more information about rapport. What do I mean by that? How do we get that that feeling, that unconscious feeling inside of us that is absolutely really committed to assisting that person in whatever way we can, but we may not be able to get it over through our words or our written words. And actually what we're working on is having some sense of how we get in rapport with that person. Got a whole video on the DISC process. I don't know whether you've come across that. This is personality styles. This comes from Hippocrates' philosophy that says that all behavior, all human psychology behavior fits into 4 main categories, and they're called dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance. I've been using that in the corporate world when I was there, and with my clients and with Nick's clients for the last 20 years. And I've been sharing with people how when you understand yourself at a really, really high level, and then you understand the person that you're talking to, the ability to get into rapport with them is huge. So the Master Coach Certified training, which I want to offer you today, because I want you to have more of this kind of information so that you grow your coaching, training, practitioner, speaker, author, business, it has these video program, and then at the end of it, we've created a test. This test gives you, like, it's got 20 questions in, and it gives you 4 options, and it says choose the best one. Choose the one based on what you've learned today and what you're going to learn from these 8. They're about 40 minutes each video, and they're on more about this, how you deliver really great coaching, more about all these different stages, right? When you've done the test, you will then get a online, obviously you can print it off and put it in your room, an online certification, okay? And this certification is based on the level 4 certification, which comes from the International Authority for Professional Coaches and Mentors. Now, this is something that you can use. You can go straight from it coming from my certified training. It can go straight out. You can press buttons and it can go straight out onto your social media. You can use it on your web pages. You can use it on your brochures or whatever else you send out. So this whole product, which has got all these different videos in, there's also some videos that Tony does, which are like, how do you get yourself in this 10 out of 10 and best energy? He talks much more in detail about what your thinking does, how it impacts on how you impact on others. So these, this is what I believe will really help you take what you've learned today, take it to the next level, then and have a certificate, know that you are then qualified at a level 4. In addition to that, we've got some bonuses for you. One of them is the 10 steps to get your first coaching client. And if you already got your coaching clients, there might be other things in those 10 steps. This is based on, as I say, Tony Vee having run our intimate relationship, multi-6-figure business, where we did retreats, we did one-to-one coaching. Our most famous and quite unusual coaching product is that we go and live with people to help them with their intimate relationships. So we have a business, and Tony has used all these steps in order to create an ever flow of clients coming towards us. And he also is sharing what we did to get the Master Coach business going as well. So that was the first bonus that we've got. And then when you've done the level 4 training, done the test, and then got your certificate, then they will automatically send you some advanced coaching trainings. Now, these are multiple short videos that I've done over the years, which, for example, take you through much more of the leverage questions. So this is, what's happened in the past? How is it affecting you now? What's going to happen in the future? How that you can have someone get so much more clarity on the problem that they've got right now, their part in it, so that they can so that you can do what so many people say to me. They go, but Nicki, I want to make sure that I can actually deliver what the person wants. Do they want to lose weight? Do they want to get their business going? Do they want to have a better relationship? What do they want to buy more property? Do they want to, what I need to be able to feel certain that I have the skills for them to have the experience that they buy from me. So there's lots more there, lots more advanced coaching videos for you. Now, this whole package normally sells at £500, and today we are selling it at $250, so that you can have more of all the things that I've shared with you today and some. So Jordan, if you could just put the link will take you through to a landing page, which will tell you much, much more than I have about every single thing that's in the video format. And you will be able to buy it online, and it will be delivered immediately to you, access to those first 8 videos that will get you certified at level 4 with the International Authority of Professional Coaches and Mentors. So now I have got 15 minutes. So what I want to do now is just answer any questions that you have, but I want to do perhaps a little bit more on something that would be an advanced skill for you to use either in a conversion conversation or in delivery. So what we might be, let's get this back to here. So what we might be is we might be in a conversion conversation. And as I said, this should be about 25 minutes. So let's just give you a quick example. And as I say, there's a full video of this on the Master Coach Certified Training, which will give you that understanding. So you might want to write these questions down because they're really powerful questions to ask people if they are confused in any way about which problem to deal with or how to deal with that problem. So many times when I'm working with people, they've got the problem that they're trying to resolve. I'm trying to assist them with this. But how many times, for those of you who've been going a bit longer, how many times have you been in a situation where somebody says, but I've got to talk to my partner, or you don't realize I've got a business partner and we're not getting on so well, or I've got challenges with my team, or I've got challenges with the amount of time it takes me to run my business. Whenever that's the case, what happens is people get into a very kind of confused state. And sometimes what we need is a little quick tool that will actually help them get less confused. And that also will show them that you have tools in your toolbox that would actually be able to assist them once they join your programs or services. So I'm going to give you the questions, because I think this is really, might be more valuable than me showing you, but I will show you a little bit. We have a question. We just have one question. I think it's Karen Jacobs. How much time will be between steps 2 and 3? How much time? Yeah. You mean on? I'm assuming she means here. Right. Right, so good question, Karen. Here, they're asking for more time. It depends what they're asking for more time for, right? So we've asked them these questions, we're on an email, we're in Zoom. It depends what platform we're using. But maybe, let's give you an example. You get into a conversation with somebody on social media and you get a call booked. And it's like a catch-up call. They've asked you a load of questions and you've just gone, hey, let's just catch up on the call, right? So then you ask them these questions: how's things going? What's challenging right now? What's going to happen if you don't get it handled? And the person goes, yeah, that's not good. I really need to, I really need to get this handled. But actually, Karen, I'm like busy at the moment. I'm out in the car. I've got my kids and everything. And actually, so you just say, great. When would it be good for us to talk again? Because as you say, you want to get this handled, and I believe that I can help you with that. Okay, so you'd find out when the next time is. Now, if somebody says, oh, the week after next, trust me, that's a fob off. That's I'm not that interested. Okay, so if somebody said to me, well, what about the week after next? I'd probably ask them, so what's the next 2 weeks going to be like? if you don't get this handled? Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, this really needs affecting right now, is their thinking. Say, look, we just need like 20 minutes or something to talk about how this might be resolved, because that's what you're selling, right? And so I would suggest, Karen, that it's as fast as possible. Now, if somebody's actually going, I realize I want to get that handled, I want to get it sorted, I want to get it resolved, I want to solve this problem, I want to know more about your program, then you could send them something, write to them, send them something, or just say, what else do you want to know about the program? And they tell you, and then you go, great. So can I answer those questions now? Would this be a good time to answer those questions now and share with you about my program? In which case you go straight into it. So I think you've got to remember, it's just like in the moment. We have to be in that moment. We have to go like, the best time for them is my answer to that question. The best time for them. The shortest time for you, because you want to keep a person, keep that person really understanding where they've gone to inside. Remember, that's what I want to go right back to the beginning. They need to remember what their critical issue is. Their critical issue, what they're doing that's stopping them, that's preventing them, that's stopping them. We need to remind them. We need to come back to that, because that's the thing. Remember the definition: asking powerful questions so they have new realizations. So that would be a question that would be a new realization. So what's going to happen in the next 10 days if you don't get to look at this? Yeah, new realization. It's more important, because a lot of these questions will accelerate people's desire to get things handled. I don't know if any of you go into businesses that are SMEs or corporates, but I remember from when I was in corporate world, people would say to me, oh, it takes months and months and months for something to get, resolved, right? Some deal to be struck, some contract to be signed, right? And I'd say, I don't have that issue. And they go, well, how come, Nicki Vee? And I go, because when I talk to them, I'm asking them about the impact of them of having this problem on the business and on the team and on the people. And they go, well, yeah, I mean, it's like a no-brainer for them to want to handle it now. And that's the same whether you're in corporate or whether you're in private business or whether you're one-man band. It doesn't matter. You need to have them go, yeah, actually, I need to get this handled now. Because the longer the time goes on, the more likely they are to, yeah, I've had that problem a long time, or, something will work it out. Or, this is why I wanted to show you this very quickly, just conscious of the time, is that if somebody's really struggling, and they want to handle this, I'm just trying to think of the best example to give you. They want to handle somebody like we were talking about. They want to get some sort of funding or something. They want to borrow some money, right? And that you've got to help them by having them see how they've been doing this that's not been working. So the questions are, what's critical to roll? Well, I need to get this funding. What's the impact? Well, yeah, it's not good. What do you know you've been doing that's prevented you getting that? Well, yeah, I haven't been positioning it. I haven't been confident when I talk to somebody about it. Okay, so this just a couple of questions just for you before we finish. So this is what I love to ask, which is a bonkers question, but you'll like it, I promise you. What in this room, you don't need to put this on there. What in this room, or by the way, what in your room, if you're on Zoom, represents you in that moment? So this is the person who says, I'm not confident. This would be, I've got to go and get funding. I'm doing a speaking gig. I'm going to go on a date. I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to get someone else to come work with me. I don't know. What in your room or what in this room represents you in that moment? They look around. So I'll give you an example. So say I was to choose this, which is my water jar. And I ask them, if that was then you were asking it me, I would go, what made you choose that? Well, it's full, but it's not quite full. And if I'm honest, and this is absolutely the truth, you'll laugh, I don't really like it that much. I think I could present myself better, right? So say this is presenting myself. And that, just to give you an insight, let's think about it. I did not have this on camera because I don't think it represents me. It's not the right color. It's not my identity. Okay. So then the third question would be, what better represents you? And I'll tell you why I can tell that this is working. Because as I explained that to you, I had some thoughts in my mind. I went, why am I bothering with this? Yes, it cost a lot of money. And Tony went, I bought you this amazing thing. It's got its own filter. You can change it every 6 weeks. And my immediate thing was, yeah, but it's not me. It's not my identity. Okay. So then I'd go, well, what represents me? Now I haven't got a better water thing, but maybe I'd go, do you know what? This better represents me. The coach asks, how come? The person, Nicki Vee, goes, well, I can have a new one every time I drink. I can tell how many of these I have a day. I quite like the fact that it's smart. It's nice and smart. And actually, I think that is better for my identity. Now, you might go, this is bonkers. This is like Nicki Vee, you're losing it. I'm like going, honestly, asking somebody these 4 questions can make them go, do you know what? This is a great coach. This is someone who asks me questions that I cannot ask myself. And that's where I want to leave it now. I've got 1 minute to go. Timing, right? That's what I want to share with you. And that's why, obviously, I've only had an hour and a half today. In the Master Coach Certified training, all of the videos, you'll hear lots more distinctions. You'll hear from me, from Tony V. And when you hear those things like this, you'll realize that to be an incredible trainer, facilitator, author, speaker, practitioner, you also need to be a great coach. So you need to be able to ask people questions that they can't ask themselves. You need to be able to ask them powerful questions that get to the core of the issue, that cause them to have new thoughts and realizations so that they make new decisions that they then follow through on. And following through could either mean following through with you, with your products and services, or if you're in delivery mode, that they actually go away and do what they commit to on your coaching. That means they will tell other people. Other people will see them doing better. Then you'll get more referrals, you'll get more people coming towards you, and your business will grow. So I thank you so much. I've finished right on time, well, not 31. And I want to thank Simon and Max and Jay for inviting me today. I'm trusting that you have got something for you that you will go away and follow through on. So that's it from Nicki Vee. Thank you very much.